Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the Hollywood Museum in the historic Max Factor building, and my guest is singer, actor, dancer, Rogelio Douglas Jr., who was born and raised in Brooklyn, attended LaGuardia High School of the Performing Arts, and after high school, he moved to Chicago, where he enjoyed his dancing life with the likes of Jennifer Holliday and Tito Puente, and Rogelio has been on Broadway, off-Broadway, on stages. He's been in and out of theaters across the U.S. And tell me about Chicago. How did that happen?
That was amazing. There was a man by the name of Doug Lawrence, and Doug used to work with Benny Goodman, and he decided to start this club. The owner, I'm forgetting his last name at the time. I remember I called him Big Boss Mark. But
Big Boss.
Yeah. And so with Mark, he got this club, and it was literally located right next to Second City in Chicago.
Perfect.
So it was right there, and then also like across the hall was like Tony and Tina's wedding. So it was just in this big complex of just nothing but art.
And
it
you
was
were
amazing.
just out of high school?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was my good friend Michael Connolly, who they tapped him to maybe do some choreography, and they wanted like a Nicholas Brothers routine. So him, my good friend Rick Fania, who actually is in Jersey Boys out in Vegas, like Rick has won so many awards out there now, so it's interesting where we're all at now.
Where we were
when we were kids and where we are now as adults. So it's really,
when you were
pretty
kids,
cool.
that wasn't so long ago, was it?
No, not too long
But
ago.
you have to put your time in, right?
Yeah, you do. I think that's very, very important.
And one thing leads to another.
Absolutely, and I think it's best to start the moment that passion happens. I was a child, and my mother thought it was going to be a phase, but then she knew that it probably wasn't going to be a phase. I started at 8, and so it was like, and she was like, okay, and I would tell her about like every audition, and she's like, well, this kid really wants to do this.
Really?
You know?
Was there show business in your family?
No, it wasn't.
Did anyone sing, dance?
My mom sang in church.
I mean,
So I
that's
would always be
good.
there and see, and be in the choral rehearsals and stuff. But she noticed that I had a love for music and art, so she used to get me involved in any little programs that she could find, just to keep me busy, because I was always all over the place, all in the house. I mean, who knows? Maybe they would have diagnosed me.
Were you singing actually Broadway stuff when you were little?
I sang so much of everything. My mother used to take me to Broadway shows, and then my dance teacher, when I was 8, she would take me to go see shows. So I got to see Cats on Broadway. I got to see, actually,
Oh, so you were inspired.
yeah, I was so inspired all the time, all the time. I loved it, and I mean, there was nothing more that I wanted. I knew I wanted to dance. I knew I wanted to act. I knew I wanted to sing, and I was like 10 years old, and I had received this award. It was interesting. They called it the Ben Vereen Award, and it was the United States National Dance Championships, and United States Tournament of Dance. Sorry, that's the name.
Tournament of Dance.
Yeah, Tournament of Dance, and they given me the Ben Vereen Award, and it was an amazing thing, because my dance teacher, all she did was show me videos of Ben Vereen and Sammy, and so did my mother.
Oh, she
and
did. She
Gregory
showed you
Hines.
videos.
So I got to see a lot of them. Those were my idols. So,
I see.
The first ones, because I saw them on screen, and then when you dive into the Broadway pool, I think, and start to see all the other great song and dance men that come before you, it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Well, before we dive into the Broadway pool, how'd you get to LaGuardia?
Oh, wow, LaGuardia.
Do you have to audition to be in that school?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So
And I wanted to go. My mother laughed, because she was like, don't you need to put down some more high schools, honey, because I put down LaGuardia, and I was like, no, that's where I want to go. I didn't
put in other high schools?
So, what if you don't get in? I was like, what do you mean I won't get in, Mom?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand it, and
I'm going there.
I'm
right?
going. I mean, I played trumpet for a long time. So I auditioned to be a trumpeter. I auditioned as an actor. I auditioned as a singer. I auditioned as a dancer. So I got in as an actor, a singer, and a dancer, but I had to only choose one, and I ended up choosing voice.
You chose voice, and then that put you on Broadway. That put you in Chicago.
Yeah.
But dancing put you in Chicago,
yeah,
really.
it did as well. Like I think it helped. I mean, I always wanted to do, you know, so many things. You know, there was a guy named, you know, Bo Jackson that played like professional, you know, NFL, and then he also played Major League Baseball. And I kind of wanted to, you know, I was like, oh, I want to be like the Bo Jackson of the entertainment industry. I really want to do it all. But you know, and everyone says that, but it's a journey. I think it doesn't matter, because you just have to start and then stay on it. And I think it's like, you know, consistency and being persistent.
Did this take the place of athletics in your life?
I believe so.
Because
I think, I wasn't an athlete. I didn't play basketball. I didn't play football, even though I think football would have been something, you know what I mean? But I think my mother said as a kid, I was like, it's shocking. She would say that I was like, I don't want to get busted up, Ma. I want to have a long career. She said I would say things like that, and I was like 11. She's like, and she would just laugh, and you know. I guess, you know, I'm glad I was entertaining.
Yeah, I'm glad your mother can laugh about it, but now she can't, because she has somebody to be proud of.
Absolutely. She's
very
probably
proud of you all the way along, but she sees the work she put into your career.
Absolutely, and making sure, I mean, from the moment I was doing this, she'd always, you know, preach to me about being humble and how grateful I should be, you know, about everything, and I was.
And
about
we
everyone.
should be.
And we should.
And do you have a big family?
I have. Well, yeah, it's my mom, and then I have my sisters. It's my twin sisters, but I'm the baby. They're like 14 years older than me.
So they take care of the baby, and the baby could do no wrong.
Yeah,
probably.
I could probably not.
And then your mother had time for you too. She'd already raised.
She'd raised them, and then they helped raise. I mean, because I came from, you know, it was a single parent home, but my mother was a workhorse. My mother, I mean, I love my mother.
What a wonderful woman.
She is.
It's really difficult to be a single mother and to raise kids and to have them come out like you.
I'm okay. I was like, Ma, you did well. We grew up in Brooklyn. I mean, you know, and we made it to Broadway lights. I mean, it's a blessing.
Well, you made it to some big lights with Riverdance.
Yes.
What is Riverdance? I mean, Riverdance is Irish.
Yes, it is.
You were the star of Riverdance.
I was a lead tap dancer in it.
We're looking for blonde, blue-eyed people,
absolutely,
aren't we?
Absolutely. Everyone's like, but it was a great part. I mean, in the show, the story was that the Irish had come over to America to come and settle, and what they had ended up encountering were some of the black entertainers, and that's like kind of like how the story is.
They set the story like that?
Yeah, they set the story, and it was called Trading Taps. So they would come, and so we would come out with like a like a saxophone player playing, and we'd come out and smoothly be tapping. You know, and it was great. I mean, Liam Neeson.
So it was a mix.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So did you do any Irish dancing?
I did. We were required to learn some of it because of what we had to do in the choreography. But the styles are so similar. But American tap is a combination of Irish step dancing and also African rhythms. And so that's what.
Who did the choreography for that?
For our number, it was a man by the name of Walter Sundance Freeman, and also a great Irish champion, step champion, Colin Dunn.
That was fantastic. That's a really great idea. It's like the battle of the guitar. I mean,
absolutely.
Banjo, right?
Yeah. It was amazing.
Great. And you did that for how long? A year?
Oh, right. We did that. It was over a span of 3 years. I'd gotten hurt doing it, but I did it over a span.
Tell us what that was, because that was like a setback for you.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I ended up doing a show. We'd been preparing to go to London and perform at the Apollo Hammersmith out there, and like near on the Piccadilly line. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. You know, and and so we'd been preparing, but we had lived in Edinburgh, Scotland, for about, it was like 2.5 months while we were there, and so we were on their stage preparing, and it was a lot. They really wanted to revamp the number. They were bringing it back to London after so many years, and it was a huge like anniversary type of deal, and so we ended up getting, I think, a little shredded on it, and it's okay. It's not what people are supposed to know. It's supposed to be so easy. People, never supposed to let them know.
But you know, it takes its toll.
It does. I mean, and it'd been a lot. We had been on tour for about 5 months, and then they started rehearsing us for like 6 weeks prior to going to London, and so it was a little grueling, and I ended up shredding my ankle. Unfortunately, I shredded.
Did it rip?
Well, I ended up.
Or break?
It's interesting how it was too, because now it's kind of healed, but I basically like popped like 5 ligaments. It's like it got stretched and worn. Yeah, it was 5 of them in there. And it was a certain move that we were doing also during the show, but I think it was just stress. I mean, our knees. By the time people had seen us, because we had been doing like capoeira kicks, flips, and landing and splits for months, and we did 8 shows. We did the full 8 shows.
Wow.
And we had no understudy, so it's
but
like
that's youth.
That's
youth.
That
you
is.
couldn't do it today,
yeah,
could you?
No, I mean, you know what? Maybe I can get in maybe 6 shows a week.
Maybe
6. I don't know if I get the full 8 in anymore.
Well, you did In the Heights.
Oh yeah, that was another wow. What
I mean,
amazing
that was
experience, but yeah, it was a lot though. Physically, it was a challenging show.
Was it as challenging as this Riverdance thing?
Riverdance, I think they In the Heights was more challenging in ways for me because of what my role was. I was a part of the original Broadway cast, and initially I was cast as and I didn't know they were looking for someone.
Lin-Manuel?
Yeah, Lin-Manuel.
Because I saw that show.
Oh, you did? You saw us here at the
I saw it on Broadway. Yeah.
Oh, you saw it on Broadway too?
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
amazing. Yeah.
So your role was?
I was an understudy, and they were looking for someone who could dance 6 of the chorus roles, and then understudy the lead, one of the leads, which was Benny. So they needed someone who can sing, but who can dance and partner. And I didn't know they were looking for this specific person. And I, prior to getting to this part of my Broadway career, I thought an understudy meant that, that was the person that just wasn't good enough to be on stage.
No, you have to do more.
I learned, they opened up a book and gave me so much knowledge, and I'm forever grateful for that.
Well, it's another learning experience.
It was amazing. I had to know salsa, contemporary.
How long did you take In the Heights on tour?
I did the Broadway run initially. I was on Broadway for 10 months, and then I ended up getting discovered. So I ended up leaving the Broadway run for about a year, and then they had asked me if I'd be interested in taking In the Heights on the road, and they were looking for Benny, and it was it ended up being the producers had reached out to me, and so did the director, and it was an interesting thing because at the time I was
See, that was great,
show.
and
Yeah.
I want to be sure that I get to Broadway Under the Stars, but
yes,
really
absolutely.
quickly, Celia Cruz.
Oh,
really
Celia
quickly,
Cruz.
Yeah.
Oh, that was also awesome. That was an awesome experience. They were looking for, Black Latinos, and not many people know that we call them Latinos or New Yorican.
Oh, do we?
And so I'd say and like in New York that's a thing, and some people don't know that that Latinos come in different shades. Not everyone knows, and it's okay. It's it's all right. But my family we're from Central America, from Panama.
Oh,
my mother,
you are?
Yeah, I'm first generation American though. I was born here. But my mother and father, they migrated here, and they actually met in the States, which is interesting, and then had me. But
and there you are. So you did Celia. Then let's go. You're working with these great Tony Award winners, Jennifer Holliday and
goodness.
And who? Barbundi?
Oba Babatunde.
Babatunde.
Oba, yeah.
Another Tony, and it's Under the Stars, Broadway Under the Stars.
Yes, Broadway Under the Stars at the Ford Amphitheater.
Right.
Yeah.
And what are you doing there?
I'm so excited to be a part of this
because
lineup.
David Galligan.
I mean, it's really amazing to be a part of this. I mean, I think as like me, the theater geek in me is like doing somersaults and so excited to be a part of this, because all I ever wanted, you go to see Broadway shows, and then there are the Broadway concerts. Like Liza Minnelli would come into town, and you're lucky if you got a ticket to go see Liza, and then she'd bring guests up and things of that nature.
Right.
And so you would always love to be a part of, like, will I ever get to a point where my name or my craft can be good enough to be able to be a part of this show? And
it's
I'm
there.
so humbled, because I remember Jennifer Holliday was also gave me a huge break in my career as well. So it's just, and I can't wait to talk to her about that, because I've been around her now a few times, but like not as often, but on several projects.
But I think this is great. Chris Isaacson has brought all these brilliant stars together for one night, and David Galligan, as I said, is directing. But it's full circle for you because you started with Jennifer in Chicago, and now you're going to be here
it's
at
amazing.
the Ford Theater. I think that's fantastic. But before we leave, what are you going to do there? You going to sing?
I'm going to be singing, and I'm going to dance a little bit. I think my shoes are going to come back on. I
Are they?
I haven't had my tap shoes on, I would say, for a little while, so it should be fun.
What do you sing?
I'm going to be singing a few things, but I'll be doing from Five Guys Named Mo a song called Agité. I'll also be singing Early in the Morning. I'm actually going to be doing an interesting version of Bring Him Home.
That's so great!
I can't wait. I'm excited because as a theater kid, I always say I want to be Jean Valjean.
Yeah, Bring Him Home.
I wanted to do that. Yeah, so I can't wait. This version that Jerry has put together is really, really amazing.
And now we have a new name to look for, Rogelio Douglas Jr.
Yes, you do.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Joan.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. And we're taping at the Hollywood Museum on Highland Avenue in Hollywood. I'm here with actor Jack Topalian, who was born in Armenia and came to the United States as a youngster. His family lived in San Francisco, where he experienced the cultural life of that city. And from a very early age, well, when he was a teen, to his mid-20s, he was a professional musician. Then he went to study at ACT, the great theater performance venue in San Francisco, and the Stanford School of Drama, which was a surprise to me because I didn't think Stanford had anything to do with drama. So you've seen him in films like Argo. You've seen him on TV in Weeds and Ray Donovan and NCIS LA. And he's also written a film called Betrayal, which he's directed and acted in with Eric Roberts. He plays the mob boss, just like he plays with another mob boss, Chaz Palminteri, in
Unorganized Crime.
Unorganized Crime.
That's right.
That's such a unorganized.
It's a great title. It's a great title. Yeah.
You came from Yerevan.
Yes.
And I've been to Yerevan.
I was born in Yerevan. My family and I, we migrated to the U.S. in 1977.
But why did you go to San Francisco?
Because my grandmother, whom she had two sisters, and they hadn't seen each other since 1922. After the Armenian genocide, their family went to Greece. Two of her sisters ended up in America. One lived in Los Angeles in Palos Verdes. The other lived in San Francisco. My father visited, United States in the early 70s, and he loved San Francisco. So he said, if one day we could ever go to America, I'd love to live in San Francisco. So that's how we ended up there.
That's how you went there? Well, you did have a relative there.
Yeah, my grandmother's sister.
So your aunt was there.
And her family and so forth. So
was there a big Armenian community in San Francisco?
Compared to Los Angeles, no. Compared to Fresno, no. I mean, there's a small, no, it's a little bit larger, but at the time it was very difficult for us. So.
I wondered if it was, you spoke no English.
I spoke no English. None of my family members spoke any English. And but, being 10 years old, it's a little easier to adapt. But for our parents, it was a little difficult.
What did your father do then when he came here?
My father was a machinist back home.
So they weren't musical? They weren't in drama theater?
Well, my father played music. He played the accordion.
Oh, he did.
And he would perform at weddings in Yerevan and around Armenia.
Oh, he did? That's great.
Yeah, to make extra money and so forth. But, he had a day job, so maybe that's kind of where I got the talent from.
How did you get into music as a teenager?
Because I always loved music. I mean, I grew up listening to music of all kinds.
And what were you doing? What were you playing?
I was playing a guitar. I was in a rock band with a couple of friends from high school. And then we started playing weddings and, bar mitzvahs and you name it.
You were successful, right?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing it.
But that took a lot of your time if you did. What were you doing
I was going to school, but I was doing that on weekends mostly. So it wasn't
going
really.
To school too.
Yeah.
Then how? Your bio says, and I don't know if this is true, that you started acting at 40.
I did. I actually dabbled into it a little bit in my early, 20s, but then I wasn't taking it very seriously.
So what did you do between that time when you went to school?
I had a business. No, my brother and I had a successful business that, my brother still operates in the Bay Area.
Doing what kind of?
It's construction related. Yeah, so I was in marketing and sales, so I was always dealing with people.
With people, right.
Yeah, I very much love dealing with people on a day-to-day basis.
But that's pretty gutsy to start at 40. I mean, you had to go to Stanford, which I didn't even think had an acting school.
They have an adult drama part.
Oh, an adult.
Yeah, they have an
Oh.
adult drama section at Stanford, and it's very intense. In fact, one of the students was James Franco's mom, Betsy Franco, who's a dear friend of mine.
Was she there?
Was she? Yeah, she was part of my process. We still keep very much in touch.
Oh, that's very interesting because you think of Stanford and
right, you think of it as
SC,
medical or business school, right?
Academic,
Right,
in some
right.
sort. So I never even knew there was a component like
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
And then the ACT, you have to audition to go there.
Yeah, and I wanted to really, at that age, I wanted to take it very seriously and get the proper training, because I've seen too many people who jump into the acting gig and say, oh, okay, I got a great look and I want to do this. So I went through the ACT program. I was extremely happy, learned the fundamentals, of theater and everything. So it was a great time.
So that was good. So what brought you to LA?
I wanted to pursue it. So I
Is
got
that
an
right?
agent while I was in San Francisco. I used to actually get on a Southwest flight and fly down for auditions and back. And I said, no, this isn't working. Since summer was approaching, I told my wife, I said, hey, kids are out of school. Why don't we go down there, try it out for a few months, let's see how it goes. And
you stayed?
And I stayed.
And you have relatives down here?
I have a lot of relatives here, yeah.
So it's good.
Friends, and her family's all here, too.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. But she's not from Yerevan, is she?
She is, and she also came here at a very young age as well.
But you didn't know each other?
Not at all.
Oh, I think that's so great.
Not at all.
So you wrote Betrayal.
I wrote Betrayal. I co-wrote it with Jason Morris. I wrote the story and I wrote the screenplay with Jason Morris, who's my friend in the Bay Area.
And you wore all three hats. You directed, you acted,
right.
You
produced it.
You produced too?
Yes.
And you wrote it.
Yes.
That's
4 hats.
That's 4 hats.
Well,
I was going to ask if you produced it. I didn't know you produced it.
Yeah, I was
too.
also one of the producers on it, and co-writer and director, and the lead star on it.
And what was your character?
My character plays an Armenian mob boss.
An Armenian mob boss.
An Armenian mob boss.
Oh,
it's a
how'd
new
you do
twist.
that?
Yeah. Yeah, imagine that.
No,
you don't hear
something
about
new.
that, right? Who's basically conflicted between family and his business, and then something happens from his former life that really, takes him back into his former life, which he's trying to leave. He's trying to be a good man, that kind of a thing.
And did you cast it, obviously?
I cast it. Eric Roberts, Oleg Takhtata were on board, Rick Young. I mean, we had some pretty good
and
talent
where'd you
on
shoot
board.
it?
We shot it all over Los Angeles.
Oh, how great.
All over LA.
So now,
Mhm.
I don't know when Betrayal happened and when
Betrayal-
Unorganized Crime came in.
Well, Betrayal premiered in early January in limited theaters, and now it's in currently domestic and foreign distribution. So we've been fortunate enough to get distribution.
Would it go someplace like Armenia? Would it go to Armenia?
Armenia is actually, we were just talking to some people in Armenia this morning about that. They want to see it in Armenia, and I'd have to see, talk to my distributor about that.
Have you been back?
I've been back a few times, yeah. Since
And
I've
how
been
do
here.
you find it? Do you find it artistically? There's great theater. There's
Absolutely.
some great theater,
Lots
right?
of great theater, a lot good symphony and
Symphony,
music.
the Philharmonic is great.
I love it. It's very modern compared to some of the other Eastern European countries or former Soviet states.
Do you feel a part of it when you're there?
I do. It feels like home. I mean, it's even though I didn't grow up in Armenia.
I know. I was going to say.
But it's almost like going to a long lost relative's house where you just automatically feel at home.
But of course, you feel at home because you speak the language and you know how to get around, and I think that makes a big difference.
It does, and the people are very warm and very giving.
When I went, it was a little. I've gone 2 times now.
When was the last time?
About 8 years ago.
Okay.
I think it's really changed.
It's changing very rapidly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. So.
But aside from that, unorganized crime. Let's not take that to Armenia. Let's bring it
Hey, you
here.
never know. I think unorganized crime will do very well in Armenia because
the play would do
the
great.
the story has something that the Armenians could understand, and Chas Palminteri is a very well known.
Is he known there?
Oh, he's extremely well known. Actually, a lot of A lot of people know him from Bronx Tale as well as his other works, you know, and they call him Sonny in the community.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
So Sonny, Chaz,
Yeah.
is in this play with you. Elizabeth Rodriguez is in the play.
Kenny DeQuilla, who wrote, and he's also the lead.
Kenny DeQuilla is fantastic, actor, fantastic.
Carmen Argenziano.
Carmen
phenomenal,
is wonderful.
Yeah.
And Jack.
Yes.
And so that's the cast, right?
That's the
and they're
cast.
all
There's 5 of
fabulous.
us.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, you know, they were looking for the part of Hakeem, I guess, for some time, and I got a call one day from my manager saying, is this something you'd like to do? I said, I'd love to, you know, so I went. Chaz and Kenny, you know.
They were there already.
Chaz wasn't
casting?
here. Kenny was in there in the room, and Chaz saw the video, and then the next day they called me. They said, we love you, we want you. And it's been a great honor to work with them, you know. I mean,
Tell us about your character. He's so funny. He's funny, actually. He's sinister, but he's funny.
He's the slumlord where Kenny and Elizabeth, they're living in Dearborn, Michigan. They've been outcast from New York, and Hakeem, my character, is the slumlord who kind of feels a little too comfortable around them, you know. So he's a funny character, but he does have a dark side to him.
He was pretty dark.
Yeah, he has a dark
How
side
do you
to him.
pull all that out of your
Well,
acting ability?
Everything starts with the writing, and Kenny's been, you know, fundamental in putting together a good script. And, you know, we have a great director, you know, David Fofi.
Talk about your director a little bit. He's done a lot of work there at
He's
the
done a
Elephant
lot of work.
Theater.
He's actually, I mean, he's done a phenomenal amount of work there. I've never worked with him. I met him through this play.
What style is his directing, would you say?
You know, I haven't seen any of his other works, but
But what does he do with you?
He's just very, you know, just down to earth, nuts and bolts. You know, I mean, there's nothing overly complex about things. He knows what he wants, and he tells me, you know, he tells not just me, but everybody. He understands the process very well, so it's been a very fun process.
We talked about the people in it. Chaz Palminteri is an Oscar-nominated
actor,
and
yeah.
Elizabeth is an Tony nominated
for Mother
with the Hat.
Mother, ooh, with the hat.
Which I saw.
Oh, I
And
haven't seen
saw
it. I'd
her.
love to see
It was
yeah.
fabulous. I saw it in New York, of course, and then
She's
I saw.
phenomenal, yeah.
She's
so
so good in this play too, because you just feel like she's in a movie and she's just real life. You know the way she does things.
I'll tell you something. I've had the good fortune of working with, you know, Dustin Hoffman and John Voight on Ray Donovan and so forth, and some. But
And
in Argo with Ben Affleck,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, but working with Chaz and Elizabeth has been just as equal as that. I mean, they're very professional, they come prepared. They're, you know, there's no difference. You know, we're all kind of equals, and we all work
it's like an
through
ensemble.
Absolutely.
And it does feel like an ensemble
Yeah.
cast. It all feels like you're all like grinding at each other.
We rehearse, and you know, we work through issues, and you know, obviously you've seen the play, and it's a phenomenal piece.
I think your role is kind of instrumental in what goes on because it shows really what Elizabeth's character is,
Mm-hmm.
and she will do anything, right? For anything.
Well, they're
She's
desperate.
only-
They're
yeah,
desperate.
They're all but
yeah.
Kenny's character's desperate.
Kenny's character is desperate. Elizabeth's character is desperate, and then, you know, when Sal, Chaz's character, you know, comes into town, things change a little bit. But yeah, you do see the desperation in what they have to live through and go through on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jack. And thanks for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep writing to JAQUINN1 at AOL.com.